My husband died in a car accident 3 weeks ago. And at his funeral, a woman walked up to me with a 5-year-old boy who had his exact eyes. I'm still in shock. I don't even know how to process what happened. But I need to tell someone because I feel like I'm going crazy. Mark and I were married for 12 years. We had a good life, or at least I thought we did. He was a consultant who traveled a lot for work. Every month he'd go on these work trips that lasted 3 to 5 days. Chicago, Denver, Atlanta. Sometimes he'd be gone twice a month. It was hard, but we made it work. I never questioned it. Why would I? He'd call me from hotels. He'd text me pictures from client meetings. Everything seemed normal. When he died, I was devastated. Car crash on the highway. Wrong place, wrong time. The funeral was packed. Colleagues came, friends came, his family came. Then this woman approached me. She was maybe 38, dark hair, holding a little boy's hand. The boy was wearing a tiny suit, and he looked so much like Mark it made me want to throw up. Hi, she said quietly. I'm Sarah. This is Lucas. I didn't know if I should come, but Lucas wanted to say goodbye. I just stared at her. I couldn't speak. Mark was his dad, she said. I'm so sorry, I know this is a shock, but Lucas deserves to be here. My legs almost gave out. Mark's sister caught me and asked if I was okay. I couldn't answer. After everyone left, I couldn't stop thinking about that boy's face. That small face that looked exactly like the pictures of Mark as a kid. I had to know. I went home and started searching. His phone was still there, locked, but I knew his password. We'd always been honest like that. What I found destroyed me. There were thousands of text messages, years of them, to Sarah. Love messages, photos of the boy, birthday messages. Happy 5th birthday, buddy. I love you so much. Dated 2 weeks ago. I found hotel receipts, but not from Chicago or Denver, from a town called Millbrook, 40 minutes away. Every single work trip for the last 5 years was to Millbrook, to see her, to see Lucas. I found a folder of photos, Mark holding the boy, Mark at his birthday parties, Mark teaching him to ride a bike, Mark kissing Sarah, years of photos. I found a savings account I didn't know about, $42,000, monthly payments to Sarah, child support. He was paying her child support. I called her. I know I shouldn't have, but I did. Why didn't you tell me? I screamed into the phone. How long has this been going on? Mark wanted to wait until Lucas was older, she said, her voice shaking. He said he was going to leave you, and we were going to be a real family. He was saving money. He was going to buy us a house. He was lying to me for 5 years, I said. He was lying to both of us, she said. He told me he was getting a divorce. He told me it was almost done. He said by next year, we could all be together. He was supposed to tell you last month. He kept pushing it back. I hung up. Now I'm sitting here, and I don't know what to do. I'm angry, I'm hurt, I feel stupid. But I'm also confused because I have no idea what to do with his will, his insurance money, his retirement accounts. Sarah is asking for money to help raise Lucas. She says Mark would have wanted her taken care of. She's threatening to take legal action to claim Mark's estate for Lucas. Mark's family is taking my side, but they're also angry that he lied to them too. My best friend thinks I should give Sarah money out of guilt, but I don't feel guilty. I feel betrayed. I'm going to talk to a lawyer tomorrow. I'm going to protect myself and figure out what Lucas is actually entitled to. But I'm still in shock. The man I loved for 12 years was living a double life, and I had no idea. My boss stole the biggest deal of my life and took all the credit, so I made sure she'd never work in this industry again. I'm a sales guy, been in commercial real estate for 12 years. I'm good at what I do. Not amazing, not world-class, but solid. I close deals. I make money for my company. 3 years ago I got hired at Brennan & Associates, a mid-size firm in Denver. The boss was this woman named Claire. She was maybe 50, sharp, wore power suits, had this way of making you feel small in meetings. Within 2 months I figured out how she actually worked. She didn't sell anything herself. She just watched what her team did, found the biggest deals and took them over. Took the credit, took the commission split. When I first noticed it, I tried to be smart about it. I kept my deals close, didn't mention them in team meetings, didn't put details in emails where she could see them. Then I met Marcus Chen. He owned a commercial development company looking to lease a massive warehouse complex. We're talking about $2 million in commission potential. This was the biggest thing I'd ever touched. I spent 4 months on that deal. 4 months of meetings, negotiations, flying to Chicago twice, dealing with his team, their lawyers, their architects. I did the work. I built the relationship. Marcus specifically asked for me to handle his stuff because he liked how I worked. I was close, really close. We were maybe 2 weeks from signing. Then Claire called me into her office on a Friday. Tell me about the Chen deal, she said, leaning back in her chair. I felt my stomach drop. How do you know about that? I saw an email. You were CC'd to Marcus's team. So, tell me. I told her. I explained the whole thing. The size, the timeline, what we were waiting on. She nodded. This is big. This is really big. I'm going to take over from here. You're going to what? Take over. You can support, but this is too important to leave to a junior guy. I'm not junior. I've been here 3 years, and I've been working this deal for 4 months. Claire stood up. And now I'm working it. That's how this works. I'm the owner. My name is on the door. If something goes wrong, I'm the one who pays. Nothing's gonna go wrong. I have a relationship with Marcus. He knows me. He'll know me better. I'm going to give him a call. I left her office and just sat at my desk. I knew what was about to happen. I'd seen it 3 times before with other guys. She'd take the deal, close it, and take the commission. I'd get maybe 5% of what I actually earned. That weekend, I didn't sleep. I was so angry I could barely eat. My wife asked what was wrong, and I told her. She said, so find another job. But that wasn't enough for me. That wasn't justice. So I made a phone call. Marcus and I had built a real relationship. We grabbed lunch sometimes. I knew his kid played soccer. I knew he liked golf. He trusted me. I called him on Monday morning. Marcus, hey, I need to tell you something and I need you to listen before you react. I told him everything. I told him that Claire was going to call him and try to take over the deal. I told him that I'd done all the work, that I had all the documentation, and that if he wanted the best service, he needed me on the deal, not Claire. He was quiet for a minute. Then he said, "Is this true?" 100%. Let me call you back. He called back an hour later. "Okay, here's what we're doing. When your boss calls me, I'm going to tell her that I want you and only you on this deal. If that's a problem, the deal goes to another firm." I felt this rush of relief. Claire called Marcus that afternoon. I could hear her voice from 2 desks over, all smooth and professional. Then I heard her voice change. She got short. She got angry. She hung up and came straight to my desk. "What did you tell him?" "The truth. You went behind my back. You undermined me to a client. I told him I did the work, because I did." She pointed at the door. "You're fired. You're done here." I grabbed my stuff and left. But here's where it gets good. Marcus and I signed the deal. I set up my own firm with another guy. We got a small office, we were hungry, and we were good. 2 months later, Marcus referred 5 of his business friends to us, then 10 more. Within a year, I was making 3 times what I made at Brennan & Associates. Meanwhile, Claire lost Marcus as a client. She lost the referrals from his network. She lost credibility. Then one of her other guys came to work with me. Then another. Within 2 years, her firm had lost 6 people. She had to close Brennan & Associates. The whole company just shut down. I heard she got a job at a smaller firm, but nobody really respected her anymore. Her reputation was done. Sometimes I see her name in trade publications, smaller deals, smaller clients. That's her life now. And every time I see Marcus, he thanks me for being honest with him. He's been my biggest supporter. He's made me millions. Claire tried to steal from me. Instead, I just took everything that mattered to her. My boss told me to follow the employee handbook to the letter, so I did exactly that and watched her entire operation fall apart. Let me back up. I work at a mid-size marketing firm called Brand Rush. Been there for 5 years. My boss is this woman named Karen. Yes, really. And she's always been the type to bend rules when she feels like it. She'll ask people to work off the clock, skip lunch to finish projects, come in on weekends without paying overtime. Nobody said anything because she was good at her job and the paychecks were decent. Then she got promoted to office manager. Everything changed. She started enforcing rules that didn't exist before. No personal phone use, no water bottles at desks. Everyone had to clock in and out for bathroom breaks. It was insane. One guy, Marcus, got written up because he took a 7-minute break. 7 minutes. But the real problem started when she rewrote the entire employee handbook. It was like she was trying to prove she had power now. The handbook was thick, like 40 pages. Every single rule was in there, and most of them were things nobody had ever actually followed. Like there was a rule that said all emails had to be formatted in Times New Roman, size 12, with specific spacing. Another rule said all client meetings had to have 3 business days notice minimum. Another one said all project proposals needed approval from 5 different departments before moving forward. One day I made a small mistake. I sent out a client email in Arial instead of Times New Roman. Karen called me into her office and was furious. "You know what?" I said, staying calm. "You're right. I need to follow the handbook. From now on, I'm going to follow every single rule exactly as written, no exceptions." She smiled. She actually thought I was agreeing with her. "Good," she said. "That's what I expect from everyone here." The next day, I started following the handbook to the letter. When a client called with an urgent project, I told them we needed 3 business days notice before any meetings could happen. Karen freaked out. "That's not what that means," she said. "It's in the handbook," I said, showing her the page. Section 3.2. All client meetings require 3 business days notice. She couldn't argue. It was right there. Then I started on the email formatting. Every email I sent, internal, external, everything, was Times New Roman size 12, with the exact spacing the handbook demanded. No bold, no color, no nothing, just plain text. Our client emails started looking like they came from 1995. Some clients actually called to ask if we were okay. But the real damage came with the proposal rule. That rule about needing approval from 5 departments. I started submitting every single project, even tiny ones, for approval from creative, accounting, legal, HR, and operations. Each department was supposed to respond within 5 business days according to the handbook. Projects started backing up. We had 12 different proposals stuck in limbo. Clients were calling, asking what was happening. Karen tried to tell me to skip the process. "But you said follow the handbook," I said. "This is in the handbook. Section 2.8. That's not what it means," she said. "It's what it says," I said. Within 2 weeks, our output dropped by 60%. She called an all-hands meeting and told everyone to stop being so strict with the rules. Then I raised my hand. "So we're not following the handbook anymore?" I asked. She stared at me. "You know what I mean." "I don't," I said. "You made it clear we needed to follow it exactly. Which rules do you want us to ignore?" She couldn't answer. One of the senior partners noticed the drop in productivity and asked Karen what was going on. She tried to explain, but couldn't without admitting she'd written impossible rules into the handbook. The partner looked at the handbook, then looked at her, then looked back at the handbook. "Did you actually write this?" he asked. She nodded. "This makes the company non-functional," he said. 2 weeks later, Karen was demoted, moved to a different department. They brought in a new office manager who actually knew what she was doing. Her first act was scrapping the old handbook and writing a new one that made sense. I never said a word to Karen about what I'd done. I didn't have to. She knew. And every time she saw me in the hallway, she'd just walk the other way. My neighbor walked up to my house with a calculator and a printed invoice for $87,000. I was watering my garden on a Saturday morning when she showed up. Her name is Karen. I'm not joking. And she had this look on her face, like she was about to change my life. Hey, we need to talk about something, she said, walking straight into my yard without asking. I've been doing the math, and it's only fair. I had no idea what she was talking about. Karen has a 12-year-old son named Tyler, and he's a lot. He's loud, he's rude, he breaks things. My wife and I don't have kids, we like our peace. Fair about what? I asked. She handed me this printed document. It was titled, Education Cost Distribution Agreement. I'm not making this up. She had itemized everything. Private school tuition for the past 5 years, $45,000. Test prep classes, $8,500. Summer camps, $12,000. College prep consultants, $6,000. And at the bottom, in bold letters, amount owed by neighbor, $87,000. I thought she was joking. Why would I owe you anything? I asked. Because you benefit from living in this neighborhood, she said, dead serious. Tyler goes to the best private school in the city. That makes our neighborhood better. That makes your property value higher. You should contribute to his education. I just stared at her. No, I said. That's not how anything works. She got mad fast. Her face turned red. You know what? That's so selfish. Tyler is going to be a doctor. He's going to change the world, and you're going to benefit from that. The least you can do is help pay for his education. Karen, I don't know how to explain this, but I'm not responsible for your son's school bills. You're being so greedy, she snapped. Do you know how much I struggle? I'm a single mom. I work so hard for Tyler, and you have the money. I've seen your car. I know what this house is worth. I tried to be nice about it. I really did. I understand you work hard, but that doesn't create an obligation for me to pay for private school. It's called community, she said. It's called being a good neighbor, but I guess you don't care about that. She left the invoice on my porch. For the next month, it got worse. She would knock on my door and ask if I'd thought about it. She started telling other neighbors that I was refusing to help an underprivileged child with his education. She left printed copies of the invoice in my mailbox. She posted about it on a neighborhood Facebook group, calling me out by name. The other neighbors were annoyed. Some defended me, some didn't. It became this whole thing. Then Tyler started acting up. He'd throw balls into my yard on purpose. He'd ring my doorbell and run away. One time he actually kicked a soccer ball through my shed window. When I asked Karen to pay for it, she said Tyler was just playing, and I needed to be more understanding. That's when I decided to handle it the right way. I sent her a formal letter. I documented every incident. Every time Tyler damaged my property. Every time Karen showed up uninvited. Every threat, every demand. I included the invoice she gave me as evidence of harassment. Then I filed a complaint with the city about the property damage, and sent copies of everything to the HOA. I also kept that invoice, and reported it to the police, as an attempt at extortion. Not in a huge way, but enough that there was an official record. When the HOA got involved, they were not happy. They sent Karen a formal warning. The police detective said it didn't quite meet extortion standards, but it was close. The HOA told her to stop harassing neighbors about money. She stopped showing up at my door. She stopped posting online. But the neighborhood knew what had happened. Some people thought I was harsh, but most people understood. Last week I saw her at the grocery store. She looked away. Didn't say anything. I never paid a single dollar. My boss embezzled $250,000 from the company and tried to blame me. I worked at Mercer Finance for 8 years, started as an entry-level analyst and worked my way up to senior accountant. My boss was this guy named Derek Chen. He was maybe 45, drove a Tesla, always talked about his vacation homes. Everyone liked him because he was charming and threw nice holiday parties. I was the only one who noticed the numbers didn't add up. In January, I found something weird in the vendor accounts. Invoices for cleaning services that didn't exist. $50,000 in 6 months. I dug deeper and found more. Office supplies, consulting fees, catering. All fake, all leading back to shell companies Derek owned. I took it to Derek first, professional. I said, hey, I found some discrepancies in the vendor accounts. Can we talk about these cleaning invoices? He went pale. Then he smiled. That smile was the worst part. He said, you know what? You're right. I was going to tell you about that. Those are actually test transactions. I'm checking our audit system. He wasn't even trying to make it sound real. I said, Derek, these go back months. There's $250,000 here. He leaned back in his chair. Sarah, you seem stressed. Maybe you need a break. You've been working too hard. I knew what was coming. 2 days later, I got called to a meeting with Derek and the CFO, Marcus. Derek had a folder on the desk. He opened it and pushed it toward Marcus. Derek said, I've been reviewing Sarah's work. I found some serious problems. She's been moving money around, covering her tracks. I think she's been stealing. I felt sick, just completely sick. Marcus looked at me. I said, that's not true. I found the problems. I came to Derek about them. Derek said, Sarah, you're clearly confused. These are your transactions, your access codes, your login times at 2 a.m. That was a lie. I never logged in at 2 a.m. Marcus said they needed to suspend me while they investigated. I was walked out by security. 2 hours later, they called the police. I got a lawyer, spent $40,000 on legal fees. The police couldn't prove anything, because nothing was actually stolen by me. But Derek had already poisoned everyone. I was toxic in the industry. No one would hire me. But here's the thing. Derek made one mistake. When they suspended me, he had to take over my responsibilities. That included access to the raw financial data I've been analyzing, and he never actually covered his tracks well. He just thought I was gone and didn't matter anymore. I spent 3 months building a case. I learned SQL. I learned how to extract data from backup servers. I contacted a forensic accountant who owed me a favor from college. We mapped everything. Every fake invoice. Every shell company. Every transfer. Then I did something smart. I got a job at Mercer's auditing firm. Different company, same building. I had access to their audit files through normal business channels. Everything Derek did was sitting right there. He thought he was smart enough to hide it from internal audits. He wasn't. I sent everything to the FBI. Names, dates, amounts, bank accounts. I didn't send it from my personal email. I sent it anonymously through a tip line. But I made sure to mention that the company's senior accountant had been falsely accused, and that there was a cover-up. Then I went to the newspaper. The business reporter wanted the story bad. Former employee falsely accused while boss steals $250,000. The SBI raided Mercer Finance on a Tuesday morning. Derek got arrested at his house. They found $80,000 in cash in his closet. His wife found out about his second apartment and another girlfriend. She filed for divorce immediately. He got sentenced to 5 years federal prison. Mercer Finance settled with me for $800,000. I got my job back and a formal apology printed in the company newsletter. Derek's name is on the sex offender registry now for something else they found during the investigation. His vacation homes got seized. I'm still at Mercer. Different department. Derek's old office is empty. Sometimes I walk past it. I found out my fiancé of 5 years has been lying about where she goes every other weekend. Her name is Sarah. We met in college, got engaged 3 years ago, and we were supposed to get married this June. Everything seemed perfect. She's a project manager at a tech company, or at least that's what I thought. For the last year, Sarah started telling me about these work trips. Every other Friday, she'd pack a bag, say she was heading to the company's sister office in Portland to meet with clients. She'd be gone all weekend. I never thought twice about it. Why would I? We'd been together 5 years. We had a house together. We had plans. Then last month, her mom called me by accident. She meant to call Sarah but got my number. I answered and she said, "Oh hey, is Sarah still at the lake house?" She said she was coming up for the weekend. I froze. Lake house? Sarah was supposed to be in Portland. I didn't say anything weird. Just told her mom I'd have Sarah call her back. My stomach felt sick. I didn't want to be that guy, the guy who checks his girlfriend's phone, but I couldn't just ignore it. That weekend when Sarah said she was leaving for Portland, I followed her. She drove 2 hours out of the city, to a cabin, a beautiful cabin on a lake, and she wasn't alone. Some guy opened the door, tall, maybe 35. He kissed her like they'd done it 1,000 times before. I sat in my car for 20 minutes just staring, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. I drove back home. I didn't know what to do. I called my best friend Marcus and told him everything. He said, "Dude, you need to confront her, now." I waited until she got home Sunday night. She was happy, relaxed, like nothing was wrong. She threw her bag down and said, "Oh my God, I'm so tired. Those clients were exhausting." I just looked at her and said, "Who's the guy at the lake house?" She went white, like all the blood left her face. She didn't even try to lie. "How did you find out?" That's the first thing she said. Not "I'm sorry," not "it's not what you think." Just, "How did you find out?" I told her I followed her. She started crying and said, "You followed me? That's crazy. You're being crazy right now." I said, "I'm crazy? You've been cheating on me for a year. How long has this been going on?" She sat down on the couch and just put her head in her hands. Then she said, 2 years. It's been 2 years. 2 years. We'd been engaged for 3 years. So she started cheating before we even got engaged. I asked her who he was. She said his name was David. She met him at a conference. He lives in Portland, but owns the lake house. She said it started as just drinks, and then it became more. I said, "Did you love him?" She wouldn't answer, just sat there crying. I told her I was going to my brother's place. I packed a bag and left. She kept saying she was sorry, that she never meant to hurt me, that she loved me. But if she loved me, she wouldn't have lied for 2 years. The next day, I called off the wedding. I sent an email to all our guests. Some of them didn't believe me at first, but I told Sarah she could explain it however she wanted. Then I called a lawyer. We had joint savings of about $70,000. I wasn't going to let her keep half of money I'd earned while she was busy sneaking around. Sarah tried to fight it, said she deserved the money because she'd contributed to the relationship. I told my lawyer about the cheating, about the lies, about how she'd been planning these trips and deceiving me the whole time. We settled last month. I kept the house. She got $30,000 and had to pay me back the engagement ring. Her family stopped talking to me for a while, but once they found out the full story, they understood. I haven't heard from Sarah in 3 months, but I heard through a friend that she moved to Portland to be with David. I hope it was worth it. My mom asked me to pay her $1,200 rent because her boyfriend lost his job, but he's the same guy who called me I was a burden when I was struggling. Let me back up. When I was 23, I went through a rough patch. I just quit my job because my boss was awful, and I was living with my mom while I figured things out. I wasn't lazy or anything. I was going to therapy, applying for jobs, trying to get my head straight. It took me about 5 months to find work. During that time, my mom's boyfriend Derek moved in. He was fine at first, but then things got weird. He'd make comments about how much food I ate. He'd say things like, "Your mom's carrying me right now," and "When are you going to stop being a burden on this house?" One time I was in the kitchen looking for cereal, and he said out loud, "Great, another mouth to feed." My mom was right there. She told him to be nice, but she didn't really push back. Eventually, I got a job at a marketing firm and moved into my own apartment. I was proud of myself. My mom was happy for me, but Derek kept his distance. Fine. I didn't need his approval. Fast forward 3 years, I'm doing well. I make good money, I've got my own place, and I'm stable. Then my mom calls me out of nowhere. "Hey honey, I need to ask you something," she said. "What's up?" I asked. "Derek lost his job last month. The company downsized. We're having trouble making rent, and I was wondering if you could help us out, just for a couple months." I went quiet. Not because I couldn't afford it. I made $70,000 a year. It was because of everything that happened. "Mom, are you serious right now?" I said. "What do you mean? He's been looking for work. It's just temporary." "No, I mean, you're asking me for money. The guy who called me a burden is now asking for my help." She sighed. That was years ago. He didn't mean it like that. He absolutely meant it like that. He made my life harder when I was already struggling. And now that he's struggling, you want me to bail him out? It's not about bailing him out. It's about helping your mother. Then you ask me for help. Don't ask me to pay for his rent. That's different. It's the same thing. I can't afford it without him. I felt my chest get tight. Mom, I was broke and scared, and he made me feel like I didn't belong in my own mother's house. Do you remember that? Yes, I remember. But people say things they don't mean. No, they don't. Not like that. Not that mean. There was a long pause. So you're not going to help us? I'll help you. I'll give you $500. That's it. If you need more than that, Derek needs to figure it out. He needs to get a job, or move out, or something. She got angry. That's not fair. That's not enough. It's what I'm offering. You know what? Forget it. I don't want your charity. She hung up. I didn't hear from her for 2 weeks. Your mom's struggling because you won't help. That's cold. I blocked him. A month later, my mom called again. She apologized. But her apology felt like she was sorry I was upset. Not sorry for what happened. She said Derek had found a new job, and they were okay. She asked if we could move past this. I said yes, but something broke in me that day. I realized that my mom would always choose him over me. She'd always expect me to be the bigger person, the one who forgives, the one who helps. And I was tired of it. I still talk to my mom, but I keep things surface level now. I don't tell her about my life the way I used to. Derek calls sometimes, and I don't answer. My mom thinks I'm holding a grudge. Maybe I am, but I think I was right to say no. I think I was right to protect myself.